All right. Welcome to Notes from the Goats, episode number 4. I'm with Mitch Stegeman, and just a little intro for Mitch. Mitch is a 7-time All-American. He's a 6-time Multis All-American. He's also been an All-American in the vault. He's a 2-time national champ. He has scores of 54-34 in the Hep and 71-65 in the Dec, which I think he's going to destroy here in a few weeks. Thanks for sitting down with me, Mitch.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you sitting down with me. During this interview, I'm gonna be looking at my notes just a little bit here, just because I don't want to miss anything. During the interview, my main focus with you, Mitch, is that I want to make it about 60% about the future and about 40% about the past.
Okay.
And the reason why I kind of want to focus on the past a little bit is because I think that your journey will help younger Dec guys and Hep guys, and us both having a multi-background, you know, that getting instilled into kids earlier, I think it'd be really positive for like a sophomore or a freshman in high school thinking, okay, I'm going to be a multi-guy. I'm going to throw shot and run the floor and do all these different things.
Yeah.
So I think that that's going to be a positive thing. And then, so my first question for you, Mitch, because as I look at Eau Claire as like Mult-U for the last 5 years, even if you go back further, 6 to 7 years, why did you choose University of Eau Claire for your college?
100% the business school. I wanted to go into finance. Originally, I wanted to be a financial planner, and it was like here, Oshkosh, and Whitewater were like good business schools. I didn't want to go to Madison; it's too big, too expensive. And my parents both went to Oshkosh. It's like an hour and a half from home, and I wanted to be a little farther than that. I was like, if I'm there, I'm going to go home every weekend. You know, I was like, I got to get out. Whitewater is too small of like a campus community area. I mean, I heard it's commuter campus. People leave all the time. So it's like Eau Claire kind of fit. I actually never toured here. First day on campus was first day of school. Just showed up and yeah, I was like, I'm here for class. I'm here for school only. It's funny. The original was like, be here for 4 years for school and then leave. And here I am in my 6th year, only here for track, pretty much. You know, I got to finish my degree, but it's like. Now I'm only, so yeah, the track wasn't even really much on my mind. I knew I was going to do it coming in, but the whole point I chose Eau Claire specifically was for the college of business.
Okay, gotcha. That's interesting. You
Yeah.
know, that when you flip the script of, you know, I know I'm only going to be here for 4 years. You know, that's how it plays out sometimes.
Yep.
Being so decorated in the decathlon, in the heptathlon, in the vault, you might go down as WIAC's most decorated multi-event athlete. I did a kind of a deep dive and I searched. We've had some outstanding Dec guys in the past. A lot of guys over 7,000. But I look at it over the career of how consistent were they over the whole 4 years. I think you might rank number 1 for like total points and times you've placed and things of that nature. After accomplishing so much already, what do you think will make like the outdoor 2025 season special for you?
Yeah, I mean, coming in, it was national record or bust. 75-28, did a lot of different training this year. And then, like I said, I've been battling a little bit through a hip flexor injury, so now I'm like, I just want to get to nationals and put down what I can put down. You know, it's like, the goal is still the record. If I don't get there, it'll be, I think it'll be 100% because of injury. I don't think there's really a way that I don't at least put up numbers that are close to it. You know, top 5 all time, I think, is like 74-50. So like, if I don't get record, at least top 5 all time. And I don't, like I said, I don't see there's a way that I don't hit that as long as I'm healthy.
So the number one thing, my next question is kind of what scares you for outdoor, but what scares you is, a reoccurring injury.
Yeah, or not healing from the little bangs up I got right now. I lost my junior year indoor season to a hamstring tear. And I always look back on that, it's like, I'll hopefully be a 5-time decathlon All-American, and I'll only ever be a 2-time Hep All-American.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like, you'd think, well, why could you do it 5 times in the Dec, only twice in the Hep, and didn't get freshman year because of COVID, and then with that injury, like, I was hopefully going to even win that one, and I didn't. Like, I got hurt, so injury is definitely always my biggest fear.
Injury, gotcha. I talked to you briefly about some of the battles you've had with Jackson Anderson, and he's been like your kind of your go-to battles. I always see the random stuff, the banter you have with lacrosse, with the April Fool's jokes and things like that. Jackson Anderson, maybe outside in the complete nation, he's been your guy that you push you. He's not there anymore, correct? Yeah, so he's graduated. And now that the focus maybe shifts, instead of the outside in the nation, maybe your biggest competitor now in the conference with Jacob from UW River Falls. I think he opened with 6,900 something, around there. I don't know the exact score, but it's ballparked in there, and I think he's ranked #1 until someone comes in and knocks him off, obviously. But tell me what you know about Jacob, and like what you looked at him, and maybe like even some small things that you've learned from him, even him being younger.
I mean, first impression, he was a freshman last year. I remember he qualified for nationals, and then at conference he like got hurt in the vault or something. He didn't finish the K, but he was already in for Nats, so we're like, whatever. And then he went to Nats and he did day 1, and he's like, I'm not gonna do day 2. I have a deck in a week. And I was like, oh, because like he wasn't putting together a good Hep. I don't think he was an All-American, and I was just shocked. I'm like, you're doing a deck like 5 days after a nationals Hep. He did the same thing this year. He won indoor, and 5 days later went and did a deck. And so just kind of shocked me of like, at Eau Claire, where like I don't do the deck at conference just to rest, but he's not afraid of like, I can just do a multi and I'm going to go do it and attack it. Like, it's hard.
I don't bounce back like
it's
that.
It's like you do a deck, and I'm like, I mean, he's also 18, 19, maybe 20 years old now. It's like, I mean, he hits senior year, 22 years old. It might be a little different, but I mean, seeing that was like, it's impressive to see someone that like isn't afraid to just do a couple multis a year. He does an early one in December. He did 4 Heps this year. He's going to do at least 3 decks this year. So it's impressive. Like I said, maybe you get older, it might change, but that's definitely something that caught my eye with him. And then like just his sheer athleticism. I'll definitely say this to a lot of people. I am not the most athletic guy in the nation. I win the deck, and everyone said the deck champ is the best athlete. No, there are guys in that field that are leaps and bounds. I mean, Charlie Nolan is way more athletic than me. I think Aiden Sears is more athletic than me. Jacob Belcom's another guy more athletic than me. I make it up in a lot of technical events. I have a way bigger vault than all those guys. I throw farther than all those guys. But just, especially Jacob's sheer athleticism is incredible, especially for a young athlete.
When I saw Charlie compete, I mean, his raw ability as an athlete is impressive. And I know Adam's a fantastic hurdler, and I know that he has a lot of things in his bag as well. But Charlie's a scary guy.
They're fast and can jump like crazy.
Yeah. If those guys can if Charlie can put it together, I can see him, eventually doing some massive things, some massive numbers. So, somebody that's in the past now that I kind of looked up to, that I thought was like a special athlete because he was somebody that could do 4 open events at conference was Mason from Stout. I think he ended up finishing like 4th in the deck at one point. Was that last year he took 4th?
2 years ago.
2 years he took 4th. And I think he was someone, I don't know if I've, outside of Marcus, and we'll talk about Marcus in a while, I think he was top 3 in 3 or 4 events at conference. I think he was runner-up in the vault. This was outdoors at University of Wisconsin Whitewater. I was there and I was watching. I think he was runner-up in the jav. He was runner-up in the vault. He made the hurdle final. I mean,
probably was there in long jump too.
I mean, to me, like, he was somebody, I think his best score was probably like, was it 68 or 6,900 or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know if he ever hit 69. He was close. It was either 69 low or 68 high.
Yeah, but man, I just wanted to mention him just because, like, I think that he deserves to be, he deserves to be talked about. He's somebody that in the past, if I was doing this at an earlier phase, I would probably sat down and talk to, because he's somebody that I thought was just like, he was special. And having a head coach that is over a 7,000 point scorer like Stegeman, I think that plays into it. But I wanted to mention him because he's somebody that I thought was like, worth speaking about, because I thought Mason was a stud.
Impressive with him is like, he was my grade. He got this COVID eligibility. He didn't use it. He only went 4, and then he was just done. I've known him. I competed against him in high school, actually. He was in my section, so we vaulted and hurdled against each other in high school.
Where'd you go to high school?
He went to Spencer.
Okay.
Yeah. So Noah Zastrow, his whole high school, actually. So he learned vault under Noah. That's kind of why he was a good vaulter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I remember coming in like his junior, senior year, just kind of came out of nowhere and just put up huge marks in like.
So his younger years, he wasn't.
No, his like freshman, sophomore year, he wasn't real good. And then what helped him, it was like his bad events were bad, but his good events were great. Like you said, I mean, top 3 in the conference in open events as a multi. Like I've done that in just the vault. He's done it in like 3 events.
Yeah, I just knew he could. I know he was just explosive.
Yes, he was cool, and he was a really great guy. I mean, like outdoor, when I got hurt that indoor year, he got second to Jackson Anderson, and then outdoor it was kind of like a 3-man race between me, Jackson, and Mason. Mason had a bad meet, so he ended up falling off a little bit, but it was like, he was definitely in talks to like win titles that year.
Yeah, I mean, I know that a lot of people thought highly of him. Outside of the conference, now that Jackson Anderson's gone, who do you have good relationships with?
Oh, the conference. I mean, all the lacrosse guys, the vaulters especially. I don't know, I just like to goof around with them. I think they all like me because I'm a multi that just kind of comes over and wings it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm vaulting today, and even on days I don't vault, I go talk to them. So definitely lacrosse vaulters. I talked to Luke Schrader a lot when I was down there. Went down there for Oktoberfest, spent the night at his house.
Nice.
So he's a cool guy. A lot of it. It's funny because like Eau Claire and Chip, especially our coach, just like the big rivalry, Eau Claire lacrosse. Like they're all like my best friends in the conference.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm closer with my own team, but anyone not on my team, like lacrosse is my guys. So it's kind of funny. Like I took the rivalry and was like, nah, they're gonna be my friends.
Yeah, that's great. And I do want to mention this because it just changes. It's like 2 different sports. I really think that it's 2 different sports. Everybody's like, well, track's track. I think outdoor track and indoor track are just so different in my mind, even though, there are some events that are the same, so be it. But, why do you think 2025 outdoor, I know that indoor you guys didn't place in the nation, I don't believe.
No, you were like 12th.
Yeah, 12th. What's going to make the case for 2025 outdoor? What's going to make the big difference compared to indoor?
Some of the big things is we return 3 All-Americans, 2 national champions in me and Jacob. So, like, hopefully I can win the deck again. Jacob's looking to repeat in the disc, probably All-American in the hammer and the shot. And then we add a shot thrower, Gage. He All-American in the shot last year. He took off indoor this year to just do outdoor. So we add 3 returning. You never say guaranteed, right? Because anything can happen.
Yeah.
But you return 3 All-Americans, so that's big points. The outdoor events favor us too. We're going to add a 4x1. The 110 hurdles, we got a freshman hurdler. He was like 23rd in the 60 hurdles, but the more hurdles favors him, right? So I could see him going top 10 in nationals, maybe squeaking an All-American in there.
Is he a 400 hurdler too or no?
He is. Not sure. He might get there, but he won't be as big of a threat.
What's
I don't
his name?
think. Blake Polster, I think.
Okay.
So he's good. The more as much as we're multi-U, we're throws U. We've had an All-American in the throws every year for the last 22 years. And so you add 2 more throws outdoor. You take away the weight, but you add the hammer and the disc, that's going to give us a lot of points.
Yeah, Jakob's so good.
Yes, and our steeplechaser comes, Mason Shea, 2-time All-American, 1-time All-American in the steeple. So hopefully he can put some points out too.
I think he's an All-American cross country as well.
Yes, 2-time cross country, 1-time indoor mile, and a steeple outdoor.
And him and Sam are very good.
And Sam just opened with a 353 in the 15 in some crazy wind down in the cross. So
yeah, and when I was speaking today with Adam from lacrosse, he spoke very highly about Mason.
Yeah.
He thinks very highly of him.
Yeah.
Let's do this because this might be the first or last time, maybe, who knows, I'll ever sit down with a decathlon guy. First off, what's your favorite event? And then let's rank them.
I've had this question asked to me so much because I am a deck guy.
You mean what your favorite event is?
Yes, my go-to answer is whatever event I am doing the best in at that time.
So your least favorite event this last weekend was a pole vault?
Yes, exactly. But I'm a pole vaulter at heart.
Yeah.
Right. So vault has to be number 1 for me. It's
okay.
Fun. It's my biggest point event. I've been doing it the longest. I've been vaulting since 4th grade.
And what's your PR in vault?
501. It's like 16.5 and a quarter.
And what is that worth in points?
That would be, I think,
like
930.
9:30.
Yeah.
Okay, second favorite event.
Probably disc.
Really?
Love the disc. It's a battle, like we were saying. I haven't improved much in the years, but it's just one of those events. It's good vibes. Day 2, it's the second event. Day 2, you go over in a nice chill circle, and I just love throwing it.
Gotcha. And then, so discus.
Discus after that.
I was surprised by the discus
Really? Yeah.
because I know you like the hurdles.
Hurdles have become an event for me. I hated them when I was younger. I'd actually probably put high jump 3.
Okay.
High jumped all through high school. It's another big point getter for me. I'll throw the 100 in there at 4. I'm not great at it, but there's not like you just run.
The start of the deck.
You don't have to think, you just run,
Yep.
I'd say I'd probably throw the hurdles in after that at 5.
All right.
This is a bold take, 400 at 6. Another, not a crazy big strength for me,
Yeah.
but I just enjoy running it. It's just a fun kind of tactical event.
There's no surprise I haven't seen the 1500 yet, but keep going.
Yeah. I don't think that'll be last.
We still have. You're a good long jumper, and
I was gonna say that's gonna be one of the bottom. What are we on, 6?
Yeah, 6. You so far. You're a big
jab. I will
Jab.
throw jab at 6. That's come on late. I've thrown over 50 now a couple times. It's a good event. The penultimate event, you can make up some points on people, and it's just another good vibes. You go over there and you're just throwing sticks.
Yeah, you got. So
I'll have shot, long, and the 15. Is that all I got
that's left? Yep. And you're a good shot putter.
I think I'm gonna throw the 15 at 8.
8. Yeah.
It's just another one of those you get a lot of points in.
Yeah.
We'll go long jump shot. I go back and forth with shot. Depends on the day. I spin. I'm one of the only spinning multis in the country. I just went and competed at Arizona. I was the only guy that spun.
Even at the D1.
Those are D1 guys. I was the only one guy that spun. I joke with Roger, our coach. He's a indoor world silver medalist now, right? He knows what he's doing when he's throwing shot. And I always joke. I was like, I should have stuck with the glide. I should have glided. I think I found the spin is better.
Yeah.
I'm a tall, lanky guy. I'm not really explosive, so the glide is a very explosive movement.
Yeah.
But when I was throwing, I threw 12 meters as a true junior, and then I threw 12 meters the next year as a true senior, and 12 meters the next year as a true 5th year. And I'm just like, I haven't improved, and it's frustrating. And I'm like, I know I have enough muscle to just muscle it out there 12 meters.
And you have a full indoor to work on it.
Yeah, and so now I threw 1280 indoor. I'm hoping to go over 13 this year. I kind of turned a corner in the shot, but yeah, real frustrating. Long jump, I'm not fast or explosive, so it's not good for me.
Yeah.
And I haven't improved much on it, so yeah, that puts it at the bottom.
All right, and I haven't said this yet, but we haven't really talked about him yet. But I'm glad we ranked him now. I know kind of like where you are on like the mental scale when you step in the ring with those. I do want to talk about your teammates because I think you being the leader, and I feel like a lot of people now you take on the role of the person that's looked up to,
Yep.
and even coming in super early and scoring over 6,700 kind of right away, which most multis don't ever do or never do early.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about some of your teammates, and it happens that you maybe have, if Marcus stayed, maybe he's the best athlete the WIAC has ever had.
Yeah.
You could compare accolades or times or scores or whatever with Sam Blaskowski and Christian Patrick, and so like there's those people that are out there, but I want to start with Marcus, and I just want to tell you like how has he affected your career?
I mean, really just interesting story with Marcus. I hated him freshman year. We came in, we were freshmen together. He was kind of a party animal. I was not. And he didn't take it, I didn't think was as serious about it as I was. He'd show up to Saturday practice, so he'd do Saturday morning practice, he'd show up late, and hungover. And I was like, then we do hurdles, and he would beat me. And this dude's hungover, and I had 8 hours of sleep ready to go, and he was just crazy athlete. Then COVID hit, and he started taking it seriously. And he his freshman year, he realized how good he could be. and he really took it seriously in sophomore year. I mean, went and won nationals his second deck of his life, put up 7,500 points, and him taking it seriously with combination of me and the other guys on the team, it's like that's kind of when we grew into Mult-U. And I think he wasn't necessarily a spearhead of that because he was an upperclassman. Definitely we had leaders that led us there, but he was the guy that put up the big number that got a lot of attention.
And at that time, Casey was the leader, kind of.
Casey and Jordan Lacey, you know, they were the most knowledgeable. I mean, those guys are libraries of decathlon knowledge.
Yeah.
But Marcus kind of put us on the map with his scores. And then junior year, I actually lived with him. We were really good friends, and then that's when he decided to go to Arkansas. It was after indoor our junior year, and it was sad. I mean, I consider him one of my best friends. You know, a lot of tears were shed when he left, you know, giving him a hug goodbye. It's like, you're not going to see him every day. But it's like you continue to follow what he does. And, you know, he went and put up 7,900 points. And I'm like, well, I saw him at practice every day for 3 years. I saw what he did. I saw what he's capable of. And I'm like, I'm not that far off.
Yeah.
I'm not a 7,900 point guy. But I'm like, well, if he can do 79, I could do like 76.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and he definitely kept my perspective of, I say there's a lot of standard of excellence. What is your standard of excellence? What do you think is excellent? If you're a 400 runner and you're like, man, guys that run 52 are really good, maybe I can run a 53. Whereas if you're like, guys that run 47 are really good, maybe I can run 49.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, where are you comparing yourself? So keeping him as my standard of excellence, and even as he's moved on to the Division I level, it's like he's always been my benchmark of like, how can I keep up with him? And you know, it's tough. I've always kind of felt like I lived in his shadow a little bit. You know, you go to meets and everyone still knows who he is and knows his marks. People that, like, we'll have freshmen this year come in and they're like, oh yeah, Marcus Weaver. I'm like, dude, you were in like 8th grade the last time he was here, but you still know who he is. It's like, so his legacy has definitely carried on, and I felt a little bit in his shadow, but I think that's pushed me to want to grow out of his shadow and put up big marks.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I remember when I won my first title, I was like, well, Marcus has 2 of these, so I have to get 3.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't get 3. Well,
you can get 3.
I can get 3 total.
Yeah.
But not 3 outdoor. And so yeah, he is a very big reason I am the way I am today.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, you know, Marcus was that, and then before that here at Eau Claire, I feel like Dennis was just so good.
Our sprinter.
Yeah, that he was kind of like set the standard of like, well, if he can run that, you know, if he can do that over the 1, the 2, and the 4, then I can pick one of those events and be great at it, and you know, just try to match his intensity and you know how good he was. So there's the All-Americans are you, Marcus, Dylan Cooper was an All-American, Casey was an All-American.
Casey was not.
Casey wasn't.
No, Abe was.
Abe was. That's right.
Casey was.
I get those two mixed up.
Yep.
But Casey was a really good pole vaulter, correct?
He was okay. Abe was All-American vaulter.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so you're thinking, Abe and Casey on the switch. Casey was just an all-around. You know, he was one of those guys that, like, whatever he scored, divided by 10, because he probably scored that in every event, right? If he went 6,500, he probably scored 650 points in all 10 events. You know, he didn't have a standout, but he didn't have a bad one.
Yeah,
you know?
That's cool. You like, when I look at your career, kind of, and I was a little bit different, obviously, because there was no COVID, there was no, you know, if you did track, you did it for 4 years, and that was like kind of the standard, and that kind of all got thrown into a blender when now with the different rules with JUCO, and now with the different rules with COVID, and you know, now, you know, you have kids that are coming in at 18 competing against kids that are 23 or 24.
Yep.
But that's, I mean, you have to adjust. That's the game. You know?
Absolutely.
So I'm not saying one's good or bad. But since you've done it all, kind of, you've stood on every podium. When it comes to deck, you've stood on the top. You've been 7th. You've been runner-up twice in national championships. What validation would you say are you chasing? Is it just the national record, or what's the validation you're chasing?
Yeah, I mean, the national record for me was kind of it, because it puts you down as the best to ever do it. You know, it's like when you win, you're the best to do it that year, or at that meet, or at that time. People remember, you know, who the champions were. I mean, in 10 years down the line, maybe you won't remember who won a title, but you're going to go on the record book and you go, oh, who has the record? I want it to be my name.
Yeah.
And part of me too is like, well, I'm probably the only 24-year-old to ever do a Division III deck. So it's like,
yeah, I don't know.
You know, it's like if I can't beat these guys that had 2 less years of training, because they
Yeah.
said everyone on 4, so it's like I've got 2 extra years of training. Why can't I beat them? And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they might be more athletic, but I'm like, I'm gonna outwork them.
I don't even know. Maybe it's Pappas. Does Pappas still have the record, or who has the national record?
It's Fisk, something Fisk. It's from like the 90s.
Oh, maybe I was just looking at that name because maybe that's who had the record at the meet you were just at. Maybe I'm wrong. Sorry.
No, it was it's the second oldest national record there is, only beat by Edwin Moses' 400 hurdles record. So I was like, well, I don't know if the 400 hurdles are going to get broken, but
Yeah.
hopefully we can get the deck.
So it wasn't. It was your freshman year of college, but when did you know what the multi-events were in high school?
Briefly.
Yeah. Was it just watching the Olympics?
No, it was sophomore year, was my first year at state. I was there in vault. And St. Norbert recruited me. I met with her, they just came up to me and talked to me, right? And then junior year, like they were persistent with recruiting all through my high school career. Kind of the only school that actually reached out to me and talked to me about track. I was a little surprised. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's a sophomore and like placed as a junior and I won it as a senior and no one really cared. But then my junior year, after state, I went to state. I got 5th in the pole vault. I was there also in the 300 hurdles, and I just missed the high jump. I got 5th at our section, top 4 go.
Okay.
So they're like, "Oh, you already know how to do the 3 hardest events. Have you ever heard of the decathlon?" Like, no. And their coaches explained it to me, and they're like, "You should try the decathlon in college." So I have to credit getting into it to St. Norbert. Unfortunately, I didn't go there. Sorry for them.
Yeah. I'll send them an email.
Yeah. But it's like, so they actually introduced it to me, and then I asked Chip when I came here, I was like, would you have made me a decathlete? He's like, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Mult-U, right? He makes everyone a decathlete, but he's like, with that background, you would have done it. So it's like I said, I didn't really get recruited for it. You know, I was kind of, I guess I'd say a walk-on. But I was a walk-on, and immediately it was like, yeah, you're a decathlete, because the most technical events someone consider are the pole vault, the high jump, and the hurdles. And I already knew how to do all 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. And the people that obviously come in without that experience, they're behind the 8 ball for a while. And
Yep.
you know, it takes them a while to catch up. I think that it takes, you know, unless you're really good at catching on, I think it takes 3 good seasons. It takes an indoor, an outdoor, and then you really start to grasp it, maybe your second indoor.
Yep.
And then when the time you get to outdoor, maybe you have, you know, a handle on those. But teaching a short multi who's never hurdled to introduce you to the college hurdles,
Yep.
you know, good luck.
Yep.
You know, you're lucky that you're, you know, 6'3", or you hurdled in high school,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. But like, I always felt for the guys that are like, you know, not like over 6'2", 6'3", that never hurdled before, and I see the pain
Yep.
of them taking on the hurdles and vault,
Yeah.
you know, with no levers.
Yep.
You know, that's totally different.
With vault, it's like what I did in high school would put me at top 5 at most national meets for decathletes.
Yeah.
Like I went 14.6 in high school. It's 440.
Yeah.
Like most decathletes go like 410.
Yeah.
At the D3 level, right? So it's like having an advantage like that already. I could come in and
you have your superstar standouts that, you know, only vault 12 feet,
Yep.
or 11.6. There are, you know, 7'10" long jumpers.
I'll say they go run 10.8. I mean, that was Jackson Anderson. He was a 10.5 100 dash. He was a 7-meter long jumper. His best vault, he's been over 4 meters like once, but usually like a 380 guy.
Yeah.
So
Struggled in some areas.
Yep.
Here's kind of a double-decker question that I was thinking about. What's the score that you would have at nationals where you might think of like, okay, well maybe I could take the Jack Flood route, and I could think about LA 2028, or like just qualifying for that meet. I'm not saying, you know, brag and say you're gonna, you know, go to the Olympics, but like what's the number that you'd have to do at nationals to like get the itch to be like, okay, well 2028 is only 2 years away. Should I, you know, what should I do? What's the score you'd have to put up?
Coming into the season, I'm still in touch with Marcus, and he's going to continue to train, and he wants me to train with him. And I was like, I don't know, we'll see. And I told myself if I set the old javelin national record, so right now the deck record is 75.28, but they re-weighted the javelin in the 90s, so it didn't go as far.
Okay.
And there's a record from, I think it's 1986, The old javelin national record is 76.82.
And what's your best?
71.60. Probably would have gone like 73 last year had I not fallen at nationals.
Okay.
And I said, if I can break the old javelin national record, if I can go 7,700, it would be really, really hard to walk away, because the Olympic trials standard is 79. So that would have been 200 points in 2 years. Training, I mean, I would have went and trained with Marcus, like training with a professional group.
A lot of fast twitch stuff.
Yeah, it's
like
like
you're
if
working your weaknesses.
Exactly. If I can't get 200 points better in 2 years, I'd be pretty surprised.
Yeah.
So if I would have gone 77, or like if I go 77 this year, it's like, even for me, I think if I break the 76 barrier,
then you'll give
I
it
would look
deep
into it. I
consideration.
already have committed to, I'm moving down to Scottsdale this fall. That's where I want to live. I just love it down there. I've already committed to move down there. I'm gonna go get a job down there, but I could train there. It's great weather all year round. So I think if I went over 76, I would tell myself, you got to give it a try.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm glad I asked that
least give
question,
it a try.
because I didn't know if you were thinking about
Yeah,
it.
at least give it a try until it doesn't work anymore, right? If I go 76 this year and then next year I, tear an ACL training and I can't, well, then maybe not. But
Yeah.
I think if I scored that, and when 28 came around, I would be watching the Olympic trials saying, I think I could be there.
You'd be itching.
Yeah.
You'd be like, well,
Whereas if I go, 7,200, 7,300 this year, I'm going to be like, yeah, 600 points in 2 years probably is
it's
going
not
to
a
happen.
wheelhouse kind
Yeah.
of. But okay, well, I'm glad I asked that question then. When you came into college, what do you think overall was like your biggest weakness?
Event-wise, or what do you mean?
Yeah, just know, if you think about it, event-wise and just like mentally and physically, what do you think that I'm going to ask you a deeper question later,
Okay.
but what was your biggest weakness in like when you came in as a multi?
Definitely strength. I gained 30 pounds freshman year. The freshman 15 hit hard.
Yeah.
I was same height, 6'3". I actually just checked my physical, 144.
You weighed 140?
144 pounds. Coming in, so that spring I vaulted on a 155 pound pole, because you had to be less than the weight in high school. So I was on a 155, I weighed about 150. Over the summer, I knew I was coming here, and I'm like, I don't want to get rolled in workouts. I need to get in shape.
Yeah.
So I didn't lift. I never lifted in high school. My school didn't really do weight room stuff. Didn't lift, didn't do plyos, didn't sprint, nothing. 4 days a week, I would go run 2 miles as hard as I could. That was my endurance training. It was on the road. I'd run a mile back, out and back to my house. And I finished the summer, I don't know if this is legit, I timed a 4:35 a mile.
Okay.
And I was probably, at that point, I was probably like 140. I have 6'3", 140. I mean, I looked like Mason Shea.
You're trying out for cross country.
And I was like just in phenomenal distance shape. Came to campus, and I was a 6'2" high jumper in high school. Came to campus, we did high jump stuff. I couldn't even make 5'10". Completely lost all of my fast twitch. Well, I didn't have strength to begin with, but was even skinnier. Throws coaches still call me Bones. That was my nickname freshman year, is Bones, because I was literally just skin and bones. All of our distance workouts we did, I rolled. It was easy. Oh, we got 1,500 training today? Easy. But you try to, anything sprinting, long jump, high jump, throw, I mean, I threw shot. October we did a throws trial. So this was 2 months into training, 8 meters. I threw the disc, it's 20
just
meters.
real quick, are you like 195 right now?
185.
Okay.
185. I threw the disc 20 meters and I threw the javelin 30. And that was like, those are big marks for me. I was just, my weakness would have been strength. I was I could barely clean a plate. That's 135. I remember the end of freshman year, I stayed here during COVID and I trained with Dylan, actually out in that shed out there.
Yeah.
And I couldn't clean 185, for 1 rep max. It was like, all right, build up, hype, couldn't pull 185.
How long's the racquetball court throwing area been there?
Oh, that was before me. Yeah, that was before me.
So all indoor, you guys are always in that little thing?
So in freshman year, I didn't want to be embarrassed too. After a couple, 2 months, every Sunday we have off, I'd come throw shot and disc for at least 2 hours. That was freshman year, put on 30 pounds. Like I said, could barely clean a plate when I got here. September, but in probably November of my sophomore year, I cleaned 225.
Yeah.
So
Start falling in love with it.
Yes.
It gets addicting.
yes,
Just like anything, yeah. And your biggest strengths were obviously vault. So
Yes.
vault was the biggest strength. What else when you came here besides the 1500 running? What came maybe easier than you thought it was going to be?
well, as soon as I got a little stronger high jump right away. I mean, then sophomore year I went and jumped 6'4". You know, so that came pretty quick as soon as I got quick.
And that's like when Marcus is going like 6'8", right?
Yeah, he went. I know.
No, the reason why I say it is because like I think that being a shadow is good and bad. You know, I was probably the third, fourth best decathlete on my team at the time, but it takes a little pressure off you while giving you something to chase.
Yes.
So I think that it helps more than it hurts.
I mean, it was cool because it was at that national sophomore year. I won the low pit at 194, and then he won the high pit, and him and A were like 1 and 2 at like 203 or something. But I was like 4th or 5th overall.
Yeah.
But it was on the low pit because I was jumping bad that whole year.
Yeah. They had you
yeah.
guys like 8 and 8 or something like that.
Yeah. Other good events. I definitely took a step back in hurdles initially, but then I picked that up and that's become a strength event.
And I never knew the transition because I never hurdled in high school. How was the transition from 39 to 42? Is that a big?
You know what? For me, I didn't notice it, but I think it might be because I didn't do 110s in my senior year.
Okay.
Senior year in high school, I dropped the 110s. I picked up the 200. I still did 300 hurdles, so I had like the hurdling form.
Yeah.
But immediately I came in and it was like they put the hurdles to 42, and I was like, well, that's just what they are.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like we get high schoolers, especially just hurdlers, not necessarily multis, but like they're really good over 39s and they're scraping right over the top, and they hit 42s and they're just hitting every single one. And it's like, no, you got to jump a little bit more, especially, you know, I mean, I'm 6'3", that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't really notice a transition in that. And then disc I picked up pretty well.
Yeah.
I threw 20 initially, and then end of freshman year I threw 34.
I mean, I saw you out there today, and it seemed like every one of your throws was around 37. It wasn't like stressed. So, you know, that's really positive. So here's a deeper question of strengths and weaknesses. If you could, I always ask this question to everybody because I think it's really valuable for people that are listening that want to be like you down the road.
Mm-hmm.
If you could go back to COVID, or if you could go back even before COVID, say your junior year of high school and your senior year of high school, what's the advice that you would give yourself starting then? I mean, besides the 2 mile time trials that you didn't need, besides the 2 mile time trial, I don't recommend that for any deck guy.
I don't either.
I don't mind like a long distance run on Sunday, but like if I was coaching somebody, I wouldn't do 2 hard miles randomly. But what's the advice you'd give yourself, or let's just say you're giving a junior or senior in high school advice about, hey, you want to be a multi guy, you want to be on a high level, this is what you need to do. What would you give? What would you say?
Well, personally, I would have told myself to throw discus. I was a tall, lanky guy. I mean, the high school disc is 1.5 kilograms. You know, college is 2, so like it's not really heavy. And that would have set up. I would have learned the spin, so I could have shot. I think would have come a little quicker.
Yeah.
I didn't have that 4th event for me. Like my senior year, especially, I was searching. Right. I made state in the 300 hurdles, the high jump, and the vault, and I wanted that 4th event to make state in. I tried the 200. I couldn't make it. I didn't think I could make it in the 110 hurdles. And I don't know if I would have made it in disc, but it would have been a good, completely new event that would have helped.
Yeah.
So for me personally, it would have been probably stick with the 110 hurdles because you're going to keep doing them, and try disc because that will help in shot and just overall coordination. For someone that I don't necessarily know, I would always just say try something different than what you do.
Yeah.
Right. If you're coming in a sprinter hurdler, I would say maybe run a couple 4s.
Yeah.
And try a field event. Try a high jump. I mean, if you're a sprinter, you probably have long jumped, especially if you're a small school.
It's not hard to talk your high school coach into letting you run a random 4x4. I mean, those are those are a little bit more fun than running a stressed out 400.
Yes.
But like to push people into events where they feel uncomfortable just to test the waters.
And it would definitely be, I wouldn't necessarily say, okay, you're a 17, 18-year-old senior and you're a sprinter, long jumper, hurdler. pick up pole vault? Yeah, maybe not. Because odds are you're at a high school that you don't necessarily have the right poles, and maybe you don't have a great coach, and you maybe wait till college for that. But it wouldn't be hard for a long jumper to try high jump at a meet or two.
Yeah.
Just so they like kind of understand. Oh, like this is how this works. So when you come into college, your first day of practice, you at least have seen it. You're going to be really bad, right? You're maybe a high schooler. You should be able to jump like 5'6", 5'8", just because if you're bouncy. But like you're going to have no form. But at least you understand what the high jump is, right? Or maybe you go over to throws and you try disc and you're like, okay, well, I at least understand now throws is a three, like you understand the competition of it. It's 3 throws, right? There's finals, we don't get finals in the deck, but like, how many people come to college and like, oh, pole vault, you get unlimited attempts, you just keep going up, right? Some I've been asked, oh, do you just get 3 attempts?
I know a lot of parents don't get it even after their kids have been in it for 3 years.
So it's like trying an event that's completely different from what you've done. Actually, in high school, there was always a meet the week of our high school conference. Our conference was on Friday, and there was like a Tuesday meet, and it was kind of just like a do whatever you want because we're getting ready for conference. And I would do, maybe it was after conference, it was before regionals, it was after conference, and regionals was the following Friday, so it was this random Tuesday. And it was like, I didn't run on rubber tracks in high school, everywhere was asphalt. Rubber was for conference and regionals. And so we go to these meets, and every year I told myself I want to do every event before I graduate. So I have a high school mark in every single high school event.
The 2 mile?
I ran the 100 and the 2 mile in the same meet, of which I also threw shot and long jumped. That was like junior year, senior year at that meet. I tried triple jump, tried discus. I tried everything.
You seem like you'd be a good triple jumper now, but I don't know, maybe not.
I'd be okay. I'd be okay because I'm tall.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I definitely just tell them try it. If you try it once and it's terrible, at least you have experience and you know what it's like. It's not your first time ever holding a disc the day you step on campus.
Yeah.
It's not your first time ever looking at a high jump bar the first time you ever step on campus.
And I feel like some coaches, I know a lot of D1 coaches are like this, and I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, D3. I know a lot of coaches kind of run from, the fact of coaching. And some coaches are like, I want cream of the crop. I want the good guys that are already super talented. They really don't like coach. They really physically don't even like coaching. Yeah. And that kind of blows my mind. Of like, if you're a multi guy, no one comes in like being great at all the events. And so, a good multi coach will salivate at the fact that I'm really bad at these two, but this is where I need work, and let's get to work. Yep. So like, I feel like most multi coaches are 100% all in on their guys. And I see some like, some D1 distance coaches are like, well, if you can't run, 14:10 in the 5K coming in, I mean, why do I want you anyways? Yep. I feel like track is now becoming less developmental, and how good are you right away? Yep. in that sense. A question that I'm not going to ask anybody else besides a deck guy. You seem like more of a technical guy, like you kind of break things down. What is your fuel like during a deck? Do you do calories per hour, or what do you do?
No, I just eat. It has become a superpower. I ate a full Jersey Mike's sub 30 minutes before 400 and was totally fine. Yeah. But something I've definitely learned through the deck is eat often. Yeah. It's like even this past week I did my deck, like I finished the 100 and I immediately was like eating granola bars. Yeah. Because
but you're not like a gel guy?
I'm not tracking it. I had a heart problem growing up. I couldn't have caffeine. Yeah. I had heart surgery sophomore year of high school. Now I can have caffeine. But since I didn't grow up on it, I don't usually do it. So I know a lot of guys are like day 2, hit a rain, I'm on 200 milligrams of caffeine, and I'm like,
I can't do that either.
So it's like, for me it's just food and water. And I try to do like an electrolyte drink, right? Like Gatorade or Body Armor or something, because you're losing a lot of sugar, you're losing a lot of salt, especially like, nationals can be at hot. Like Myrtle Beach, it was like 90 degrees. So that you gotta get your electrolytes. Yeah. But like calories and water, that is, it doesn't matter quality of calories, what are you eating. I mean, you want to have some proteins, some carbs, like stuff that's going to stay with you, but just if you can get food, if you can get to the 400 on a full stomach, you're going to run way better than a guy that hasn't eaten in 8 hours.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe not full stomach.
Yeah, 3/4 full.
Yeah, not super full, but I think that's like, after college I got better at it, realizing like fuel is kind of like the 11th event of the decathlon.
Yes.
That you really like, I need to focus on fuel and, day 1 to day 2 rest, and how you warm up for day 2 really sets a tone for the entire meet period. So
the rest, and then, like you said, the rest between days is crucial.
How fast can you get off of your feet and not be
Getting
in the hotel
obviously ice bath if you do that. I'm not a huge ice bath guy. I do it if I have to, but get to bed. And the biggest thing for me has been wake up, right? So most decks start 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Guys will be especially at a qualifier deck at lacrosse, we might not get there until 8:30, right? Hour and a half before hurdles start. They're gonna wake up at 7:30 or 8. Get on the van, 5-minute bus ride. It's like you wake up and you're immediately hurt. I'm up at least 4 hours before.
Yeah.
Takes your nervous system 4 hours to wake up. If you can hit your warm up and you're ready to go, and you hit those hurdles, it just makes them that much easier. It's like I just did this deck. It was terrible. They started day 2 at 8:30 in the morning, but I was like, I'm gonna wake up at 5.
It's why everybody feels like, people forget this, but that's why everybody feels so good at high school football and basketball games. It's because they're 7 p.m.
Yep, it's afternoon, your body's awake, your mind's awake, you know what you're doing. Yeah, it's like learning, I'd say definitely day 2, learning to wake yourself up and just get ready. It's like, if you can give your nervous system 4 hours to wake up, you're gonna do so much better in those first couple events.
Yeah, yeah. And so this is I'll give you I'll give you a minute here to think about this, I want you to think about it as we go here, but if you're not even a multi guy, let's just say, I know that Eau Claire has a great wrestling program, a great hockey program. They have other great programs. If you're talking to a high school athlete, guy or girl, why do you think, why come to Eau Claire? And I know we talked outside about how they're building this amazing facility, and that's great. And now you can compete with, I like Oshkosh's facility, and I like Lacrosse's facility, and still, even though Whitewater's facility is new and it's nice, it's still behind those 3. But put it all together, trainers, coaches, all that kind of stuff. Why come to Eau Claire? What makes Eau Claire good?
For track specifically, or anything?
For anything. I'll let you do track first,
Okay.
but then if you think about it as a whole, I'm talking about the ecosystem of Eau Claire.
Okay.
Why has it been such a good experience for you?
Yeah. Well, track, I'd say we got probably the biggest coaching staff, I'd say, in the country. We have 2 coaches per event. They're not all paid. A lot of them are volunteer. But they're really good, and there's a lot of them. So it's you go to a bigger school or a different school that doesn't have enough coaches, you're not getting eyes on you. Here, you have eyes on you every rep you take in every event.
Yeah.
And we got a world-class shot put coach. Silver medalist at the Worlds. Our vault coach has been to a World Championships for Slovenia. Chip's a couple-time national champion in his own right. It's the quality of coaching, but the quantity of coaching as well. Having eyes on you for everything is just so nice. You have someone taking a video of every rep of your high jump rather than just oh, sorry, I was talking to a different athlete. It doesn't matter. So for track, at least, the quantity of coaches you're going to get eyes on, which is huge.
Yeah, I saw you're doing half reps. You're doing half reps of javelin, in case he still has a video camera on you.
Yes, absolutely.
He's giving you pointers on even the small stuff that'll add up over time.
So all the coaches' attention to detail, but campus overall, if you're a business student, come here. I'm a business student. It's amazing. College of Business is incredible. The technology that they've put in. They just built an investment lab with 20 different computer screens, and you can follow stocks and all that. Our school of business is nationally renowned. The network of graduates is nationally renowned. You go anywhere in the country, any big city, you're gonna find an Eau Claire grad.
Gotcha.
So especially if you're going to business here, but just campus, I think one thing that has stood out to me has been the closeness with the teams. And I guess I can't speak for other campuses. I don't know what they do, but the football team shows up to a lot of basketball games, volleyball games, and wrestling matches, and the wrestlers show up to football games, and the volleyball team shows up to basketball games.
Yeah.
And
I think that is rare.
I think so. I mean, I talked to lacrosse guys and girls track team don't even practice together. Like, there's whole separate teams.
Yeah.
We're one big team for guys and girls track. It's the same head coach, it's the same event coaches. So not only our specific track team are we close, but you know, I know guys on pretty much every other sports team, and
Yeah.
they all know us. And you know, you walk. This is McPhee, right? The sports building. You're walking through and you see a football guy, and you're like, hey, what's up? Or
Yeah.
like basketball and volleyball, they're down in the Sonotag now, so you don't see them as much. But like the interconnectedness of just the different sports builds a great atmosphere on campus. You know, and you're in class with people you know, and it's a big campus. We got like 12 or 13,000 students, but it feels small. You feel like you know everyone.
Definitely be cool walking into a classroom with, even if it was 25 people and there's 3 athletes in there, you know them.
Yes.
It's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Makes things easier. One of my last questions for you, and I think it's probably the most important to ask a senior this, but now that it's, you know, whatever, 6-7 weeks to go in the outdoor season, and outdoor it seems like flies by, because indoor it seems like it lasts forever.
Always.
But what are the 2 or 3 things that you hope that you can leave behind that maybe you'll be remembered for?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were to only pick 3, you know, things that would be like, this is what Mitch was to me. What would, if you could pick, and I know we don't get to pick those things, but what are the things you'd like to be remembered for?
The biggest one, and I've been preaching it to underclassmen this year and last year and especially this year, is standard of excellence. I mean, our campus motto is excellence, just as a whole university.
Yeah.
And I've just been trying to preach standard of excellence, and I hope that when I leave, anyone that's been on a team with me will always be able to say Mitch had a very high standard of excellence, not only in track but everything, right? It's like I take my grades very seriously, right? I'm in an honors program. I have like a 3.85, right? I'm like, everything I do to my absolute best, and I want to be not, you know, I'm realistic. You can't be the best at everything in the world. A decathlete knows that. You know, sometimes you have to be average at 10 events. Yeah. But I'm gonna go into whatever I'm in, and I'm gonna do my best, and I'm gonna try to be really good at it. Yeah. And I hope the underclassmen, like a 400 runner, I don't run 4. I do in the deck, but like I'm not great at it. Yeah. But I hope they're like, man, Mitch really set his goals high and set his standard high. I'm gonna make my standard really good. And you know, everything I do, I just want it to be a high standard of excellence. And I hope that rubs off on the underclassmen of like, set maybe unrealistic goals that you don't think you can do. Yeah. But if you shoot for a national record and you land a national champion, it's not bad.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not bad.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so this is the last thing I do with everybody. And last thing I want to do is thank you for your time. I know you had practice today, you had class today, you had work this morning or something like that. Yeah. So you're a busy person, and I have you here till 6:30. But I have everybody sign one of their favorite pictures. So this is a picture of Mitch from the national championships, and this was a cool picture. And I think it embraces some energy that you're feeling this time. Is this in vault or high jump?
So that's vault. That was indoor last year, and in the multi it's tough because it's not over till it's over. Yeah. But that was, I made 485, which tied my indoor vault all-time PR, and it put me at like 60 points, which is 5.5 seconds ahead of Jackson Anderson. Yeah. And I knew it was going to still be a battle. He beat me by 4 seconds, so it was close. Yeah. But I like to say that's the moment I knew I won indoor nationals. Yeah. Was I landed from that. I mean, as soon as I let go of the pole, the bar goes past my face, and there's like, on the way down, I'm yelling. I bounced off the mat, and I was like, let's go. And it's like, it was the moment. It's like, I know that I can win now. I know I can go run a K that's close enough.
It was a battle, but you had the upper hand in the battle.
It's like, had I not made that, I would have had a 2.5 seconds, and he beat me by 4, so I wouldn't have won. Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of the moment. If you can have a moment in the deck where you knew you win, that was the moment I knew. So
few people get those.
Yes.
Because usually it does come down to the last race. But I'm gonna have you sign this.
Yep.
There's a silver marker up in there in the black. It'd probably be the best. And I want to say a prayer for you. And I want to say a prayer for you and your team, just so you guys can have a healthy end of the season. So bow your head real quick. And I want to pray for Mitch. I want to pray for his teammates, and I hope that this outdoor season, the rest of outdoor, is kind of more like a dream season for Mitch. I know that he's worked hard, he deserves it, but also his teammates have worked hard and deserve it. He's on a team with other talented multi-guys that have to put 10 events together. And the margin for error, Lord, in something like the decathlon is so small, and things can go wrong. So I hope you give Mitch and his teammates grace, and I hope everybody on his team has an outstanding outdoor season and stays healthy. In your name we pray, amen. Yeah, so thank you so much.
Hey,
I appreciate
thank
you.
you.
We're done.